Who here has no idea how to do a net sheet?
Me, I don't know how to
Sort
do
of.
it.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
I don't know either.
No. May?
Yes, I kind of know. I just go on to Navi Title's website and then I put in the numbers.
Yeah. We'll run through it on what that kind of looks like. I'm assuming you know how to do that, Chrissy, right? You've probably put together multiple net sheets. Okay.
Yeah, I did like 5 yesterday, low key.
Nice. All right, let's get started here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. All right. How do I share my whiteboard? I had a whiteboard. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how to do it, so.
Wasn't that what was just up originally?
Could you see it?
Yeah.
All right, let me do something here. Okay, so you guys can see this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna break this down. This will probably be like a three week thing here. But basically, it's pretty simple. It's I mean, number one, we always want to start with mindset. I know we don't have a lot of experience with these listings, but by the time we go through this, and then you get one or two, you'll feel much better about this. I mean, like Chrissy, how much better do you feel from the very first one until now, right? Like you've had a couple, right? So like, do you feel it's different, right?
Very, yeah, definitely way more confident than working with buyers, actually. I think for
Nice.
me, it's because they already have like what they need. We just have to figure out how we can help them get to their end goal depending on their situation versus buyers and then getting them to a lender and all the different thme
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. And interesting you say better than buyers. I mean, I know like Hayden, me and her talk a lot. Like that's kind of her goal is to be very listing heavy because, with buyers they can run you around. They can change their mind anytime, right? Things can change. I mean, sellers can too, obviously, but a majority of your work on a listing is done up front. So it's one of those
yeah,
things where like instead of doing, if you want to do 30 deals a year, 30 buyers is a whole lot more work than 15 buyers and 15 listings, right? So, this is going to open you up to be able to, number one, work with more buyers, number two, get a lot of your time back because that's ultimately our goal. So, if you can just change that mindset of like, this is not scary, this is this is good for my business, it will definitely it just changes, right? Basically, when you look at it, it's really broken down in just to really essentially 4 parts, right? It's just setting the appointment and qualifying the client. It's preparing for the appointment, going on the appointment, and then your follow-up, right? So let's jump into kind of what that looks like. Today, we are just going to work on setting the appointment and qualifying the client and some of the prep work that needs done. Now, this is where if you go into the domain folder, right? So everybody except Chrissy has access to this folder right here. And if you go into listing appointments - sellers, everything that you need for a listing appointment is in here. All right. I even went in and I even put so I broke it down into marketing. So this is and I actually just used this yesterday for a Sphere deal that we're gonna go live. This is not branded to me, and this is a very clear 150-point marketing plan that you can download and send to your clients. And it's not branded to anybody, right? And then I also took my listing presentation and I took out all of my branding and put this here for you guys as well. Actually, I guess you'd have to delete that one page, but and I put this in for there as well. So like if you're worried about taking a listing because you don't have a presentation or a marketing PDF, like this is here for you. You can use this. I mean, like Hayden has her own and created hers, I mean, last year at some point, has her own style on it, her own look. It's branded to her. You're more than welcome to, and I suggest that you do that. But don't let that be the reason you're not taking listings if you can get some right now, because you have this in here to use. When you're creating your own, if you like this enough, you can also go in, duplicate this, and just piggyback off this. Add in a few other things. Like on mine, I have some Zillow reviews in there. I have a little bit about me. So this is in there. First things first, where you're gonna create this, if you do want to create your own, is in Canva though. So if you don't have a Canva account, you should. We do not want to go over all of this right now on how to create this, because that is a whole different conversation. But if you go into Canva, you can create this. I know Hayden created hers in Canva. Chrissy, did you do yours in Canva also?
Yeah, I actually have two different ones. The Lot and Team portal has a couple different versions, and they're all branded, so you don't have to do that part. And then Canva has a couple too, so I've kind of merged in.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep, exactly. So Canvas seems to be the spot to go. I've never actually seen anybody create one anywhere else. I'm sure there is probably spots, but that's going to be the easiest for you. Any questions before we get too far ahead? Any questions on this? Like, there's no dumb questions. This is the time to ask. Are we good on this? Creating these we can help do separate, but okay. If you go deeper into here, you're going to also see a lot of these SOPs broken down. So this is the listing actual presentation broken down. So it starts with the walkthrough, some questions to ask, which is what we're going to do next week, and then the kind of the intro when you're at the house, and then the presentation. So when you're actually at the house, essentially what that process looks like is you knock on the door, you're shaking their hand, you're going in, you're setting your stuff down, and I like to tour the home first. You'll pick up your own style, and then what I say the intro is, so that's where I would say the walkthrough. So I'm getting to the house, entering the home. The intro is where I'm asking the questions, and then the presentation. So it's really broken into three spots how I do it. Now I want to prep this that everybody has a different listing process. So how I do it might be a little bit different than you, or you might do it the exact same way and little different things here and there. You're going to pick that up. Don't let that scare you, because that's just going to become who you are, the same way as working with buyers once you get in there, okay? So if you go into here, it has the full listing appointment process, from the walkthrough to the intro to the actual appointment itself. If you also look on here, you're going to see, which is what we're going to talk about today, qualifying the seller and setting the appointment. So you have all of these different qualifying questions, items of value, questions to ask, and then it kind of dives into more like this is the whole SOP for a listing appointment. Then it's the pre-listing to do, what you're going to do to prep for the listing. Another one is you're going to confirm your appointment, and then appointment, post-appointment. So that is in here as well. So if you're not really sure what to do, this is broken down pretty clearly. And then if you aren't too confident in what the actual process looks like after you get the ER signed, you also have an SOP for getting the home ready after the ER is signed. So this will walk you through everything you need to do. Submit to the portal, set up pictures. If you want to do cleaners, that's part of my process. I do videographer. If you have one, you're going to confirm things. Like this is all set up right here. So everything you need to know as far as SOPs are broken down right here if you ever need to go review it. If you jump in a little bit deeper into this folder, the listing appointment, it now breaks it down to qualifying the client. If you want to do like a drop off to a folder, that's something that I have not done yet, but I've always wanted to do, is put together like a little package that I actually drop off to the client before our appointment. I think it just makes you look very professional, and it's a great idea. I've never implemented that yet. Any items that you need to print for the appointment, all your marketing material, and then all the different scripting and trainings in here. So pretty much everything that you need is in this folder. Any questions on any of that? trying to knock out this beginning stuff so we understand before we jump into the actual process. So do you have any questions on any of that?
Nope. It's great.
We good? Okay. All right, so let's jump into, let's just do net sheets real quick, actually, because I want to show everybody what this looks like. Okay, so I can get you this link if you don't have it, but this is the Navi Title app, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to create an account, you're going to sign in, and this is where you're going to create your net sheet, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And on here, you can also put together a buyer estimate as well, but it's pretty straightforward. It's seller net sheet, and then you're just going to jump into putting it in, right? So Garrett and Anthony want to sell their house that they bought together. Their address is 3212 West Adamanda. See if this pulls up. Actually, we'll do a different one. Who has a listing right now that I can use their address for?
I have 18179.
What? Say it again.
18179 West Canyon Lane in Goodyear.
I don't know why won't this populate. It should populate. It normally pulls up here. That's super weird. Normally this will populate the address here. Anyways. I've never had to put these in before.
Goodyear. I don't know if it really matters for this.
Okay. And then your property type is going to be, I'm assuming it's a single family home, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to pick, do you have a price on it?
The sale price is $484.
Okay. So she's going to list at 484. Let's say the loan balance is 200,000. And then when you're picking your closing date, like you're typically putting these together before you know your closing date. So I try to estimate the best I can. So like if, let's say Chrissy listed that house today on the 27th, she's probably not going to get an like review offers until Monday the 30th at the earliest, and that's best case scenario. So you're going to look at September 30th with a 30-day close. So I'm going to go ahead and put October 30th. It's going to give you your best chance, your best estimate, assuming you get it under. If you think your price too high, go another 2 weeks out, whatever you think you need to do. And then you're just going to hit calculate.
How do you know what the loan balance is?
You have to you have to get it from them. You have to ask.
So you can't do a net sheet until you talk to them.
I mean, if you want it as accurate as possible, you have to figure out what their loan balance is. And I don't know any other way to get it other than I just ask, hey, I want to put together a net sheet for you so you can understand exactly what you're making. Can you please send me your loan balance or roughly what your loan balance is? So you just ask. I personally always take out home warranty because I'm not seeing a lot of home warranties. So I always leave the mobile notary. This is where now with the new lawsuit stuff, you got to kind of decide on how you want to do commission. I'm still doing, both sides because I expect them to still come in. So like, let's say I'm doing it for 3 and I can expect they're going to offer 2.5. I'm going to put 5.5 just to be safe. On these net sheets, it's always better to go worst case scenario and make them think, make them feel like they're going to get more rather than giving them less up front, right? Or, overestimating and then giving them less, and then they're mad because they're like, well, I got $22,000 less than you anticipated, right? Property taxes, I'm leaving nothing. You can throw seller concessions. This is where you got to make that decision. Do you want to say typically there's going to be $10,000 in seller concessions? You got to make that decision. I know like Billy and Tony, they talk like they always throw in some sort of seller concessions.
Put 5.
You put 5, okay. So Chrissy does 5. I have still left it as 0, but it's very situational, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. But again, putting in, I would say either $5,000 or $10,000 is never a bad idea in this case, just because concessions are 60-70% of the homes that we're seeing still. Binzer repair, Billy talked about he always puts like $1,000 in Binzer repairs here, so you could do that as well. You do the $1,000 also.
I cannot find water.
Yeah.
What? Oh, okay. Miscellaneous fee, I'm leaving. Property taxes, I'm leaving. And then I'm essentially just hitting calculate. And now, pretty simple. It's going to tell me the number. I can adjust it. So, like, if she sells this house at 484 and they own 200,000, you know, they're going to break down all these closing costs right here. Boom.
It's like, go under.
Your commission. You know, you could add the concessions back in there. You got $1,000 for bins or repairs. Total closing costs are going to be there, but they're going to walk away $250,000 at these numbers. Now, if you need to adjust it, they want to change the price, you're just simply hitting edit and going in, changing the numbers, whatever these may be. Go ahead and just hit, you know, save quote. But I mean, it's pretty much simple as that. And then you just go ahead and hit download, and your net sheet's there. So, any questions on this? Do we feel better? Do we understand now we can go create 100 net sheets if we wanted to?
Yeah.
Mom, do you understand? I know this was a big one for you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's super easy. Just need this Navi title website is all.
Yep. And we can get that. That's super easy. So, okay. All right, let's go into just qualifying it. This was the bulk of what I wanted to do today, because the more that you can understand what you're walking into, the better prepared you can be, right? And you know, sometimes you have to, I don't want to say convince them to do it, but it takes additional questions to set it, especially when you get into, like, if you get into the MISO program and things like that, where these guys are not repeat referral type deals, you're going to have to, you know, really understand what you're getting into. So if we go into here and we go into qualifying the client, this is kind of a pre-listing presentation script. So some of the questions that they're looking at is, you know, you want to find their time frame, of course. How soon do you have to be there? You want to find out why they're moving, right? I say this with an asterisk because, you know, how much do you want to list your home for? You want to be careful with this. I always used to think this was a great question. And then I had this question with one that Skylar and I did, and he said that, and we didn't ask the question yet, but he said that the other agent that he was interviewing did, and he did not go with them because he thought it was their job to come up with a number, not him give the answer to them. So just be cautious of that, okay? You can ask something like, would you please describe your home for me? Is there anything positive or negative about the home that could affect the price, right? Do you have any specific questions or concern that you want me to address at our appointment? And then this is where, if you're gonna be sending them the package of information, right? We're always talking about call to action, what's next? This is where you're gonna preface, you know, I'm gonna send you this package, or, you know, I'm going to meet you at the house at 5, or whatever it happens to be, right? And then this is another big question that you could throw in there is, like, are there any other decision makers, and will they be present for our appointment, right? So those are some really good questions. And then make sure you're just very clear about your call to action. Okay, well, I'm going to see you at 5 o'clock. I'll be at your house, right? I'm going to shoot you a follow-up, whatever that looks like. So that's a really good script, which we'll run through it here. Couple other things right here. So these are under qualifying the seller, setting the appointment, right? Couple other good questions here. Are you interviewing more than one agent? Do you understand the process of buying and selling at the same time, or just selling? So, you know, you kind of understand where their gist is. Have they bought a home or sold a home before? Again, why are you moving? Why are you selling? Where are you moving? Where are you at in the process, right? That's Russ's go-to line always, like, where am I catching you at in this process? How much do you owe on the property? Because now you're going to get your net sheet put together. You know, how much do you think the home is worth? How long have you lived there? Any sort of upgrades, things like this. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. What I want to do is I want to run through this one time, kind of a role play, so we can kind of see what this looks like. And then we'll give some pushback, some feedback, and then we'll play a call that I had that was a really good one about this type of thing. So let's run through it and get some practice with this. Who would like to go first? Does somebody want to be the agent? Do you want me to run through this as the agent first? What would be best for you guys? Does anybody want to give it a shot as the agent?
Well, let's hear you be the agent first.
Nobody wants to give it a shot while we have the time?
Well,
All right, I'll run through it. Who wants to be the seller?
I will.
Okay. All right, so we got connected. I don't know you, right? This is not a referral type deal. I don't know you. You want to sell, so don't give me any sort of crazy push. But we just kind of want to stick to these questions. We'll get into some more advanced stuff later. It's not a problem, but let's just stick with this. So you single family home. You're connected through Zillow as a seller. Okay. So we're gonna skip the beginning. I'm just gonna kind of go into asking your questions and qualifying you. So okay, Anthony. So I'm very excited to meet you at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening after you get off work. Now, tell me a little bit. Have you ever sold a home before, or is this your first time?
This is my first time.
Gotcha. Okay. And what do you understand about selling a home? Like, do you have any concerns that I can make sure I address at our appointment?
Just what are the fees and just basic questions
Just
about
basic questions. Okay, yeah, that's good. My listening
Breakdown.
presentation
Yeah.
is tailored for basic questions, so that's perfect. Now, what does your time frame look like? Like, how quickly are you trying to get this thing sold?
In the next 6 months.
Okay, so you don't need to sell immediately.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, and where just so I understand, where are you moving to, Anthony? Are you staying in state? Or are you going to like Tonopah maybe?
No, I'm actually planning on moving to Las Vegas.
To Las Vegas. Okay, perfect. What's taking you to Las Vegas?
Just families out there.
Gotcha. Okay, and how long have you lived in this house?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, yeah, that's what it shows on tax records also. I just like to confirm. Okay, and if you don't mind, I want to put together a net sheet for you. Do you know what your loan balance is on the property approximately?
I believe 100,000.
100,000. Okay, perfect. So you're looking at some really good equity in this house. That's exciting. You're gonna need it because Vegas is pretty expensive, so that's good. Now let me ask you this: you're the only one on title on tax records? Will there be any other decision makers or is this completely up to you?
My wife.
Your wife. Okay. Will she be at the appointment also?
Yes.
She will be. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what we're gonna do, Anthony, is I actually have it since we're meeting in a week. What I'm gonna do is I actually have a pre-listing package that I want to drop off so that you can kind of be prepared for this appointment as well. I'm actually gonna stop by tomorrow. Are you gonna be home around like 5:30 or 6?
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'm gonna drop that off just so you can have a couple things that explains really what this process looks like a little bit. And then I'm also going to send you over a couple emails, just kind of shows you our marketing so that you can go down and just kind of take your time and read that. And I'm going to send you a little bit information about myself and my team. We've been the #1 team in Arizona for 7 straight years. We've done over $1 billion in sales for 2 straight years. So there's a reason why we are #1. And what the information I'm going to send over will explain that to you. And then we're going to go over the actual process from beginning to end when we meet next week at 5. And then is there any questions that I can answer before we jump off the phone?
No, not at all.
No? Okay, perfect. All right. Well, I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock with that package.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Now, just to be very transparent, I have not done the package thing yet. So I just threw that in there to show you what it would potentially look like. But that would be essentially what I'd look. Now, the other thing is you also don't want to over talk or overdo it. Figure out the information you need, set the appointment, and then get off the phone, right? You don't want to talk yourself out of an appointment as well. If you notice, like I told him what was going to happen, and I tried to not dive too much more into it. It was ask the exact questions I need, get an answer, set the appointment, tell him what's going to happen, get off the phone. And now you have a week, you have 7 days, you have 3 days, whatever that is, to prep for your appointment. So, some really, really good, strong questions here. Feedback, input, questions that you guys have on what it kind of looks like.
Obviously, the order of kind of the way we have it here can be totally kind of moved around, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because would you typically start in with are you interviewing more than one agent, or is that kind of something you put a little farther down?
I would either, if I'm gonna use that, I do it last personally. I'm
Okay,
finding
okay.
everything else out. But again, you're gonna adapt.
For sure.
You're gonna adapt to you're gonna adapt to your client as well, right? It's the same thing. It's
Right.
read and react. We talk about it all the time. It depends on the client, the relationship, the feeling that you're getting from them. I don't always ask that question also. Like if I feel like I've built good rapport, like I don't want to give them the idea to interview more than one agent. So
Right.
honestly, like 7 out of 10 times, I don't even ask that question. It kind of just depends on the feel that I get from them. But if I do, it's one of my last questions I ask personally.
Right. So maybe if in your discussion you kind of heard them say, something about, this other agent mentioned this, then
Yes.
that might tip you off to say, are you interviewing other agents?
Yes,
So,
exactly.
okay.
And then like that kind of gets into here. Like at that point, now you're using it to figure out, have they provided you with a net sheet? How are you setting yourself apart? Where did they get the comps from, right? This might be something you ask at the appointment. It might be on the phone, just depending on how that goes. But what are you doing to now set yourself apart, right? Because it's kind of like you need to provide value to set yourself apart. That's the basis of everything that we do, right? And then did they go over the process of buying and selling at the same time for you, right? You can even jump into I might even have a buyer, right? So this could be something that you could potentially use in one way, shape, or form. Or you could touch on the market as well, right? We go over Cromford every single week. How can you use the market to convince them, right? So just some other things as well. So,
but again, only like the have they provided you with a net sheet and that kind of stuff. You're only bringing that up if you think that they might have another. Okay.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
So, again, it all starts with mindset, which we touched on. You got to have the right mindset. If you look into here and you go to, this was a training from a Tom Ferry thing that I got. And he actually, he talks about the same thing, developing the mindset, right? The mindset of a successful listing agent. I am the best agent for the job. You must believe in yourself, your service, and your ability to list and sell property. At the end of the day, you have so much support for the Lawton team, there's not a reason to be nervous, right? If you're going to be nervous, wait till it's on the market, and then if you're not getting showings, that's the only time there is to really be nervous, honestly. Your confidence to do this, though, of what you can control, we have so much support and everything that it's really not something to be scared of, right? Prepare. That's another one. What's nice about this is you have time to prep for appointments. You're usually not setting many appointments the same day like you are a buyer. It's usually 4 to 10 to 2 weeks to a month out, right? And then that gives you, a chance to mentally prepare for your appointments. Also, developing develop a pre-listing routine, which you're gonna get, and kind of just gets you into the appropriate state of mind. Like Chrissy touched on, you're doing enough of these, your mindset is gonna get right. There's no doubt about that. You're gonna develop a process, and it's gonna become second nature. You talk to a good agent that's done enough of these, you'll go to appointments and you'll completely adjust. I had a listing appointment last week, and it was literally the craziest guy I've ever talked to. I think he was on the spectrum. It was insane. I adjusted my appointment, and he signed the ER, right? Because I've done enough, I've been able to understand that will happen for every one of you guys as well, especially as you're practicing these and we role play them and things like that. So let's do one more here. And get a few more reps in. Who would like to be the agent? Somebody's got to go. Who wants to give it a shot? Back to just the initial call. Somebody. I'm gonna call on you if you don't pick.
So which?
So we're just getting back to the.
Yeah. Which document?
We're just getting back to qualifying, just that initial call. You want to give it a shot, Garrett? Look, it's kind of goes back to like what we talked about with scripting. Like this is the spot to mess up. This is the spot to get your practice in. You don't want to practice on your clients. You want to practice here. Trust me. If you screw this up horribly, it is okay. There's a reason everybody's nervous to do this. So, somebody give it a shot. You want to try, Garrett?
Are you? Yeah. Which one do you usually start with again? And where do you kind of usually?
I mean, hear what I say, right? Just we're gonna listen. You're gonna have to hear what I'm gonna say. So we'll start at the beginning on this one. So do you want to be the agent? You want to give it a shot for everybody? Show them how it's show them.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
So this is a lead. Actually, let's do this. Let's make it a referral. You close a deal, past client. Now they just referred you over somebody that wants to sell their house in Tonopah. All right, so I'm calling you, right? Ring, ring. Hey, is this Garrett?
Hey, this is Garrett. Is this
Hey,
guy?
yeah, this is. Yeah, I got your number from Billy Bob Joe. Said you did a great job helping them buy a house, and that you'd be the guy to talk to about potentially selling our house, hopefully.
Fantastic. When are you? Gee, this.
So I would just start
When-
with
when-
just start with tell me a little bit about where you are, right? Like open it up to a basic question, get them talking, and all open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So tell me a little bit about your situation. What's going on, right?
Okay. All right. So yeah, tell me about your situation. What's your? Why are you guys thinking about selling?
Yeah, so we bought this house before COVID, and we got a lot of equity in it, and we just want to buy a bigger house, and we really want to get out of Tonopah. There's this agent that always knocks on our door trying to sell. His name's Anthony. He's like, he was elected mayor, and I want to get out of it because I don't trust his systems and stuff. So I want to move to like Peoria.
Peoria. Okay. Do you have much knowledge of the Peoria area?
Yeah, I mean, I work over there, so I just want to be closer to work, and it was just all I could afford at the time because, the market was so crazy. So now I just want to be, closer to Peoria.
Okay, great. Do you understand the process of buying and or actually of selling?
We understand the buying process, but not the selling. This is our first house that we've ever bought, so that's why, Billy Bob told us that you'd be the agent that could walk us through this and make me feel comfortable.
Okay. All right. Where are you at in the process? Have you?
Just getting started. You're our first call. We're just hoping to sit down with you and get it started. We don't even know what to price it at, to be honest with you.
Okay. All right. At this point, what do you guys owe on the property?
I think like 220, 215, 220.
All right.
So what would be like, just in your mind, like what do you want to happen right now? You probably just want to set the appointment and get off the phone, right? Like would be the
Right,
next
yeah.
logical step. So don't be hesitant, like set the appointment at this point and then go with them, right? So, like my next question at that point just be when's your best
When are you
availability?
available?
Set that
Okay.
time, ask a couple more, and get off. You don't have to necessarily, like these are just ideas to go. You don't have to hit all of these. Right. If you
Right,
say,
right.
great, when are you free? Oh, this Saturday at 3. Okay, perfect. And are you and your wife both going to be there? Yes. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Do you know what your just find out the questions that you would logically think you need to know. I mean, this is a pretty easy one because it's a referral, right? You don't really have to jump into are you interviewing more than one agent, things like that. Like you just want to truly know the questions
Right.
you would really, really think you need to know. You see what I'm saying?
Right. So this is just the phone call. So this isn't the one where
Yeah, this is just a phone
ask all
call.
the
You
questions.
ultimately, if somebody wants to know your commission, the price, things like that, you don't want to answer that, so you want me off the phone anyways, and the appointment, right?
Okay.
So I would just get into set the appointment and ask any questions that you think you need to do to be prepared for it, right? Not to convince them to sell or use you, but to prepare yourself for a good appointment, and then get
Right.
off the phone,
Okay.
right? So keep going from right there. Take it
All
from there.
right. So, so it's just totally draw a blank. Let's set up an appointment for when can you set up an appointment, or when are you available to meet? And do you have any other parties involved that need to be part of this?
Yeah, me and my wife both have the weekends off, so we're gonna be we're free anytime on Saturday.
Okay, Saturday. All right. Does morning or afternoon work better for you guys?
Afternoon would be good.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do afternoon. Let's meet at the Starbucks down the street from you, if that works. And yeah, we'll see you there. We'll see you in there in the afternoon this Saturday.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything I need to do to be prepared?
Obviously, there's more that I need to do to be prepared. No, at this time, I know the value of your house. I'll set up a net sheet for our meeting, and we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks. Me too. Take care.
All right, feedback. What are we thinking?
Oh, don't even try.
What are we thinking?
About confidence. About.
Chrissy said, "Good job, Garrett."
Yeah,
What else? What are we thinking? Feedback. What do you guys think? Anthony, May, Mom, what do you...
I think he's doing really good for just starting out. This is very brand new to him. It's brand new to me. So, I mean, you're doing really good, Garrett.
Thank you, Anthony.
I love the support.
Yep, me too.
Very good, yeah.
What else?
Especially coming in cold.
Besides just you did
exactly.
besides you doing a great job, what else?
Well,
Feedback.
Just more
What did we
probing
hear?
questions.
Yeah.
Oh, one more time, sorry.
Just more probing questions.
Yeah.
More questions is always better.
Yep.
What kind of questions do you think that would be then?
Yeah, which ones to do on the phone?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the how much do you own the property? We need to know that so we can get the net sheet set up. We're in the process, but I guess we you did kind of clarify that you were referred to me and you're just getting started. So
Mm-hmm.
we discussed why are you selling, where are you moving. I don't think I asked how soon you need to move, but
Time frame was a big one that you missed, and
Yeah.
again, you probably are gonna find that out at the appointment. So it is what it is. It's not the end of the world, but definitely keep that time frame question. Like it's one of the first questions that I would want to know.
Yeah.
Is like how
I agree.
quickly are you wanting to do this?
yeah, no, you need to know if we need to list it by next week or 6 months, like
Yeah.
I said. So it's-
And
yeah,
again,
that's
you're
it.
gonna like in your situation here, you're gonna ask that at the appointment, but I would still want to know, and I would want to have that in my I'd want to have that as a habit of asking for these like miso leads or leads that are not so easy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that is a good one to know before the meeting, just to know the urgency.
Mhm.
That's important. I mean,
Yeah.
do we need to set up a meeting today, or can we wait till this weekend or next week? So it's
Yeah.
the urgency. I think that is a good question to ask on the call. So
Yep. Mom, May, any feedback for him?
No, just more questions, just a couple more is all.
See, you and Anthony both said the same thing. May, what about you? Any feedback for Garrett?
No.
No. Okay. So I would say this. I would actually challenge that I think he did a good job asking questions. I think you got for this situation, right? I think you got most of the questions you needed done. I would say my biggest feedback would be like, it just felt like, and obviously it's your first time, right? And that's what we're doing this role play for. But you want me to not feel like you, and again, you have to take this with a grain of salt because of where we are.
absolutely.
But you want to make me not feel like you don't know what you're doing, And
Right.
what I mean by that is like you kind of said confidence, but more so like guiding the thing, right? So like I thought you did a good job asking the questions. I think where could use improvement on that specific call was simply telling me what was going to happen next, right? So in a situation where it's a referral, I'm essentially be like, you know, where do you want to move? When do you want to move? What's your situation? Like you found everything you needed. What you didn't do is just tell me what was going to happen next, right? So after the questions is, okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to meet you. I'm going to come over at 5:00. We're going to act and now prep what's going to happen, right? Because you want to sound like a professional. So I'm going to meet at your house. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you give me a tour of the home so that I can get eyes on it. That way I can comp the property correctly and talk about pricing correctly. I'm going to send you over my marketing beforehand so you can start getting an eye on what our marketing looks like. Because that's an SOP that I always do is I always send the marketing over first, right? I'm going to send over the marketing. I'm going to send a little bit about our team and why we're number one. I would send that email regardless if it's a referral or a MISO lead. And then after that, we're going to sit down and we're just going to chat about what this process looks like. And I'm also you didn't talk about the buying process. I'm moving to Peoria. So what about the buying process? And we're going to talk about what that looks like as far as buying and selling, because now you have to sound like a professional. How you can sound like the professional is you're going to be buying a home. So there's a few more things that we need to navigate to be able to make that happen. It's not as simple as just selling. So I'm actually going to show you how we're going to effectively buy and sell at the same time, right? Like how professional do I sound by saying that? You see what I'm saying? So that would just be the biggest thing is set those expectations, and my call to action of what's going to happen next would be the thing I would add in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sense?
Okay. Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. All right, let me see if I can find this real quick. So if I can find this lead here, I should have had it pulled up, but I completely spaced it. This was a seller lead that I got from Open Door. Is it this one? Okay, so this is a seller lead that I got from Open Door. He was pretty brutal. Now, I will tell you that I did not set the appointment with him, but I did give a good call to action and I moved him in the right direction because I got the sense that I was not going to convert him. But this is a really good example, I think, and Mom was in the office when you heard. You remember this one, Mom?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was good.
So
Yeah.
this is an example of kind of explaining some stuff well and moving the needle along, even though I did not set the appointment, okay? So there should be some good things that you can kind of take away. And I asked some questions that I probably you might feel uncomfortable asking, but I'm hoping by listening to this will kind of give you guys some ideas as well. So I don't think we need to listen to all of it, but we'll listen to some of it.
Hey, is it Daniel?
But the end of it was the best.
Hey, Daniel. My name is Guy Forbes. I'm a realtor for the Lawton team. We partner with Open Door. We got your request for your property, 8202 North 32nd Avenue. So I was just calling to kind of see where you are in that process and what I can do to help you out best.
I don't even live there, bro.
You don't? Okay. Is it a rental property or vacant or?
That's not our property. When we sold that, no, that's a condo. We sold that. Okay.
Can you hear the sassiness and the attitude in him already?
Yeah.
Years ago.
Did you? Okay. What about 3215 West Garfield? It has two addresses on there. Is that one still yours?
Yeah, that's where I live.
That's where you live right now. Okay. Is that the one that you're looking at requesting information on selling that one?
The Open Doors already came and did their thing.
Yeah. So how the relationship works is Open Door is going to give you essentially two options, right? We partner with it. So I'm a boots on the ground agent that works in Phoenix and in the Valley. So they're going to give you that Open Door number, which is going to be that investor offer. And then they're going to also connect you with an agent that would be able to give you a second option, which would be selling it the traditional way on the market, right? The investor offer is going to net you less money, but it's going to be convenient for you. The other option of listing with me is going to net you more money, but you'd go through the traditional route. Does that make sense?
It
There you
makes
go.
sense, but why would I give you my business? I don't even know who you are, man.
Yeah, well, so what would happen is typically what we do is we would set up an appointment for me to come over and just kind of show you what my team and myself can do. That gives us an opportunity to meet.
How much percent do you charge? What's your
So,
percentage?
so that varies depending on a couple different factors. We talk about pricing, the different strategies where you want to be, and we'd actually go over that. We also go over as well what you would do on the buy side, because you have a couple different options with the new lawsuit change. So it's kind of a tough question to answer on the phone until you sit down and let me show you a couple different options that you would have.
Yeah, I'm
get
good
the
on that,
family
bro. I have a
members.
lot of family who's realtors, so if I'm going to give anybody my business, I'll give it to them.
You do? Okay. Were you looking at taking an investor offer? Because we also
If
have
it's going to be a right offer, if they're trying to give me some whack offers, I'm not going to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have a number in mind right now?
My house is a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, bro. So I've been even doing the comps in my own area, and everything's going for 400 and up. So if they want to give me an offer that's lowballing me, I mean, they're gonna have to
Okay.
go, 'cause
Okay.
there's a
that
bunch
makes
of
sense.
investors that come in my neighborhood, and they're trying to buy houses up because, like I
He's
said,
on
that
the
area is
defensive.
going.
He's super
They're
on the
fixing it
defensive
up. The
with
city of Phoenix
everything.
is fixing up that area, so like I said, I was born at night, but not last night. So they can come and try to throw a BS cash offer for me, and like I said, I was born at night, but not last night.
Right, absolutely. So I'll be completely honest with you. That open door offer, just kind of hearing what you're expecting and what you're thinking, that open door offer is probably going to be lower than what you're hoping for. The number they give you.
I'm not even committed to open door, but nothing. I just want to see what they're trying to offer because
Sure.
they gave my neighbor a really good offer, and he ran with it. So I'm trying to see where they're at with their offers. So I'm not. Like I told them, because I know they're going to sell it to an investor, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. I don't give a shit what they do with the house, to be honest. I just,
Right.
like I said, and my buddy that sold his house was very happy because he sold and bought a house with open door, and he was really happy with it. So
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Now
That's
it's
pretty
questions.
common. Now let me ask you this then: if they don't sell, or if they don't give you a number that you're happy with, are you still gonna 100% move forward in selling that, or would you what would be the game plan if you don't like that number?
I'm still going to sell.
So now I know
Okay.
how to
Sell my
approach
house.
that.
Okay. Now you had mentioned you have family
Back
members.
to the family
Are
members.
they full-time realtors or part-time?
I think one's full-time, one's part-time.
Gotcha. Okay. The reason I ask is simply because, our partnership with Open Door allows us to be able to give you this other route. And we understand that a lot of people, the average person knows about 7 to 8 realtors. So it's not uncommon for people to know or even have family that are that. We're just essentially looking for the opportunity to get in the door. I mean, we've been the number one team in Arizona for 7 straight years. That's how we've gotten the Open Door partnership. And then, on the team that is the number one in the last 7 years, I am one of the top producers, and that's how I got into this position. So all we're asking for is an opportunity to sit down and show you what we can do and show you what those numbers look like. So my question for you would just simply be, are you open to having that conversation? If you go with your family member, we completely understand. We just want an opportunity to sit down and show you. So that would be my question for you are you open for that?
Now he's
I
gonna
don't know,
bash
man. Like
realtors.
I said, I've used realtors in the past where they're full of shit,
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to selling and buying houses, I'll look like when we sold our condo, I only made $9,000 profit, and the realtor made $15,000. How does that make sense? So that's why I'm real sketchy on using any realtor besides my family, because at least I know my family, I can kick their ass and not go to jail. But if I kick your ass, I'm going to jail.
When you sold that condo, did they give you any sort of net sheet and kind of go over the numbers with you beforehand, or how professional
So
were they?
everything was being done through my wife. My wife found this realtor. She was doing everything. And women, they want to be in control. So at the end of the day, when I looked at everything, I said, you got fucked. And she did get fucked. So there was tears the whole time she's signing papers because there's no turning back. Somebody had already bought it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to send you over an email that just shows, what we've done numbers wise, kind of the proof in the pudding. I'll show you, send you over my Zillow reviews so that I'm not, just a stranger anymore. I completely understand wanting, where you're coming from. But at the same time, like, we just say, one bad experience doesn't define all of us. So if you are open to just, 15, 20, 25-minute conversation, I'd love that opportunity. If not, I do completely understand. But let me at least send you some stuff that, shows who we are and what we do. And then maybe that will,
So he was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
No, you did well. You did great.
Yeah. But I think he got broken down though. And now like I'm picking my battles, right? So now when I call him today, he's had a chance to look at the numbers, the reviews, if he actually reviewed it. I mean, he opened it twice, but we'll see if he did it. But, it's just, I think it was a good lesson of, never being, no matter what they're like, don't be intimidated to ask those questions. Because even though he was an a-hole, like, I found out that he is open, and it was his experience with his last realtor that he wants to use his family member, and now I know how to approach that conversation when I call him back today, because I wasn't going to move the needle that day. I can potentially move the needle today when I call him back, right?
Yeah.
So, anything else on that? Takeaways, input, things like that?
Yeah, that'd have been nice to be able to, that was perfect.
Yeah.
I would have gone blah, 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 blah. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I put money down that he meets with you.
See, the
I
thing
think
is
it's a real
I don't
deal.
even know if I want to list his house, to be honest.
Yeah.
It sounds like
I
it's.
know, I
it would
don't
be a
think I
nightmare.
would.
But he's a challenge that I want to take on to at least get the appointment.
Right.
And who knows, maybe he'll want to arm wrestle me when we get to his house the way he was talking about fighting. So
Kick your ass or whatever he was going to do. So.
Yeah.
we'll see.
Kick your ass.
So, but I think as far as like, I played that because it's a good example of qualifying the client, right? Like kind of getting the appointment set. You're not going to get super easy ones like what Garrett and I ran through or what Anthony and I ran through. You're going to get some tougher ones. And, some of those questions, if you noticed, were in there. I didn't get to a ton of them because he didn't give me the opportunity. But like I asked the question, I just listened for a lot of those. So I think some good stuff like along the lines of what we did today.
Yeah.
So.
No, that was great.
Hayden, anything you want to add in here before we jump off? I know you're just kind of tuning in, but anything you want to add? You've done more listing appointments than anyone on here, so.
I don't really know. I mean, you did some good points for sure. That was a really good call. I would have hung up on him probably. Some respect. Yeah, but the main thing is just like asking questions, seeing what they want to do instead of jumping to answers. Like you really need to understand what's going on and why they want to sell their house, how they want it to look, what's important to them, what they want the numbers to look like, things like that before you just like spew out information. So I would say that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. Questions. Nothing new.
Yeah, and on those questions, like what she's saying, what I've been saying is like, they're not super deep, like hard, confusing questions. Like they're just genuinely questions that you would ask. Like,
Right.
like if you're gonna sell my house, like these are questions you genuinely need to know. It's not like you're coming up with some crazy script to convince me. Like you really do need to know what's your next step. When do you want to do this? Like what do you know about selling a house? Like these are not like scientific questions that people sat in a room and thought of, hey, how can I convince sellers to sell the home with me? Like no, like this is what you would ask your friend or your mom or your sister if they were selling a home.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's pretty normal stuff that you need to know. Like where are you going? Like are you gonna buy another home? Because now I know I need to know that, right? So it's very true. So,
No, absolutely. Yeah,
so cool.
great.
All right, guys. Well, that was step one. Next, we will dive into what do we need to prep for the appointments. Then we'll jump into what does the appointment look like. I would say as far as action items, I would definitely have, either be okay using our listing presentation that I have or start creating your own. I would start reviewing some of those questions and just kind of getting them into your mind. And looking over those SOPs as to like, how do I want to approach a listing? So just have all that ready. And then that way, when we get into the next step, you're not like, oh, well, I'll take a listing when I create my listing presentation. Well, you had 3 weeks during this to create that. Like, if you're going to create your own, start it right now. Trust me.
Yeah.
So,
True.
Great.
I mean, Hayden had hers created when she was like, what, 4 to 6 months in the industry? You already had it made, right? We started pretty early on yours.
Yeah, I probably made it after like 3 months, but I got my first listing in October, so 4 or 5 months after I started.
Yeah, and you had yours created in the first 3. So like everybody here has been more than 3 months. I would start implementing that. The last thing you want to do is get a really good lead that you're not prepared for and you miss out because you're too afraid to have a listing presentation ready. That's the last thing you want. That's what Hayden and I talked about. Like when we sat down, it was like, do you want to miss an opportunity because you've never done this, or would you rather wing it, right? A little story. So my very first listing appointment was a $1.2 million home.
Oh.
And it was a realtor.com lead. I was 6 months in, maybe less. No, I was about 6 months in on Jason's team. So I had probably about 9 months in the business altogether. I got a realtor.com thinking that it was a buyer. Went through the buyer questions with him like we would Zillow, and he goes, I'm actually not buying, I'm selling, and I thought I could get 3 realtors in my area to interview to sell my house. So I had to initially shift from a buyer to, holy crap, what do I do now? And essentially, I just set the appointment and we went. They ended up going with another realtor that was specialized in that area, which I plan to never lose to a specialized area agent again. But the presentation went really good and it was fine. Like he said, the feedback I got, he was like, yeah, the only reason we went with them is because they've sold homes in this area and we noticed that you hadn't. So that was the only reason I didn't get that 1.2. And 1.2 back then was like a lot tougher to come across than it is now. But the moral of the story is like I was not prepared. I did not know how to handle it. I had done 0 training on it and I winged it and it gave me some really good experience. So even if you F up, give it a shot, honestly.